What is the Federal Reserve? Everyone has probably heard of it at some point in their life. The name is on top of every dollar bill in the United States. But what is behind this shadowy organization? What do they control? Are they the Illuminati? Are the Freemasons involved? No. They just make sure the economy runs smoothly. And here's how. This is the Federal Reserve System. It is made up of 4 parts. The Board of Governors, the 12 reserve banks, the 12 boards of directors, and the Open Market Committee. The Board of Governors is the highest up in the chain of command. The 7 members it is made up of are nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. Have you ever heard of Ben Bernanke? He's the chairman of the board. Then we have the reserve banks. They each have a president and a board of directors, as well as the staff necessary to run them. The Board of Governors directs the actions of the reserve banks. I will leave their functions mysterious for now. After that we have the boards of directors. They run the daily operations of the Federal Reserve banks. The Board of Governors appoints a Class A members. They represent banks in the region. Class B and C members are appointed by the banks in the district themselves. There are 3 members for each class, making each board of directors consist of 9 people, in case you forgot how to do the math. The last part is the Open Market Committee. This is the group that decides the actions and the policies of the Fed banks, also called monetary policy. The Federal Open Market Committee, also the FOMC, is made up of all 7 members of the Board of Governors plus 5 of the Fed bank presidents. The presidents rotate every year, except for the president of the New York Fed, because he's special. Yeah. The monetary policy that they decide on consists of 3 parts: the discount rate, the reserve requirement, and open market operations. The reserve requirement is how much a bank must keep in reserve out of their liabilities. That is, the ratio of money they must have available for their customers to the amount they are liable for having. The discount rate is the interest rate on Fed bank loans. This greatly affects the flow of money in the economy. The lower the rate, the more likely loans will be taken out. And then we have open market operations. Open market operations are used to change the volume and flow of money in the economy. Here's the awful analogy that I came up with. The FOMC is doing something like adding water to or draining water from a fish tank. Adding too much water or taking too much water has major effects on the fish. Too little water, the fish die. Too much water, and my analogy breaks, ignore that, but let's say the fish die if there's too much water. The same is so for the economy. So it is important to keep it within a tight margin. The main tool used by the FOMC is affecting the amount of reserves in the banking system by buying or selling securities. If buying, the amount in banking reserves goes up, generally making it easier for banks to loan money, and thus increasing the flow of money in the system. If selling, the amount of reserves goes down, making banks more careful of their money and decreasing the flow of credit in the system. They both have their advantages at times. Excuse my horrendous drawing and bad analogy. So, there are a lot of separate Federal Reserve banks in the US. What do they do, you may ask? Good question, you. The functions of a Fed bank are split up into 4 categories: monetary policy, regulation, government services, and plain old services. Their role in monetary policy consists of examining the market and reporting on what they find, participating in the Open Market Committee, and changing the discount rate. Oh boy. A Fed bank also helps regulate the banks of its region by doing inspections of state-chartered member banks, just banks using the Fed, bank holding companies, these are companies that own banks but don't necessarily do banking themselves, and foreign bank offices in the US, keeping an eye on those sneaky British and such. The Fed banks also perform a number of incredibly joyful roles for the government, like taxes. They hold the money from taxes for the Treasury. Not to mention savings bonds, heavy-duty savings bonds. Get it? Glue, bond? Oh, never mind. They also do a lot of things you probably thought your bank did. They process checks, and because we're not in Britain, we don't need to spell that with a Q, those sneaky British. This is why there are those numbers at the bottom of checks, so the money can be routed to the right account. They do wire transfers, those things that are often associated with the Nigerian princes offering you millions upon millions of dollars for no reason. This is a very fast way of transferring money or scamming money. They handle currency and coin, which I will get back to because it is a large subject. Their last major responsibility is running an automated clearinghouse, which I have no idea how to visualize, so I will draw a cow wearing sunglasses. The automated clearinghouse is used to simplify the process of recurring payments and transactions. Think payrolls, Social Security, and mortgages. Now recall how each Federal Reserve Bank handles currency and coin. You like currency and coin. I know that. I can read you like a book. Anyways, here's how it works. Here's you. Let's say for some reason you want to deposit some cash into your bank. After storing some of your delicious dollar bills into your bank, you leave. Your bank loves those delicious dollar bills too, but everyone seems to be saving right now and there's a lot of money in their vault. So they decide to deposit those bills into the District Federal Reserve Bank. The Fed Bank counts and sorts this money on arrival, separating into two sets. The money to be replaced, you know, that raggedy old bill that you found next to a storm drain, that type of thing, and the money that is good. The old bills are destroyed, and the Fed Bank receives new currency from the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, which honestly sounds like the most dull part of the government based on its name. Coins are replaced by the Bureau of the Mint. Anyways, all of a sudden it's Christmas season. You want your money back from your bank to spend it on useless things, and so does everyone else. Well, your bank probably thought ahead of you on that one, and their vaults are stacked high with that crisp money everyone enjoys. How does this differ from a regular bank? Can I open an account with the Fed? The Federal Reserve Banks are something like a bank for banks. A bank can open an account and store assets in the Reserve Bank, get loans from the Reserve Bank, etc. And no, you can't open an account with the Fed. Sorry, they don't like you, and you do not look like a bank. No offense.